Good day, teachers, and how are we doing today? So, yes, I have made two courses on how to make an introduction video for young learners and how to make an introduction video for adults. What we're going to be having a look at in this little short video is just some of the key differences to understand between the lessons, energy, props, flashcards, etc., when it comes to adults and young learners. Remember, the key is in the detail. The more focused and less generic your intro video is, the more it will stand out. So, when shooting these videos, some of you might actually be in the position where you're applying for young learners companies and adults, and you want to make two separate videos. And you're kind of saying, Matt, I've looked at the course, I've gone through it, I understand it, it follows the same structure. How do I really just highlight the key differences between young learners and adults? So in this short little video, I'm just going to be running through a few little things that are just going to help you understand the difference in making an introduction video for young learners and adults. There we go. So when we have a look at the course on making the introduction videos, you will see I speak of energy and I speak of the flow of the video. So that is key number one in the introduction video for young learners and adults is your energy. For young learners, you are going to up the tempo, have more, hi, I'm teacher this, hand movements, gesture. You're going to be a little bit more energetic and full of energy and pull in the props and pull in the flashcards and show the enthusiasm because for young learners lesson, it is predominantly a teacher's lesson, meaning it's going to be about an 80-20, 80% of the talking and work done by the teacher, 20% done by the student. You're going to get them to say a few sentences. You're going to get them to repeat a word. You're going to get them to play games. So there's a lot of focus and a lot of orientation on the energy in the video of a young learner's video versus the energy of an adult video. Okay, so keep that in mind. That remember, with young learners, it's teacher orientated, and with adults, it's going to tone down a step. It's going to be a bit more formal. It's going to be a bit more professional. But always remember that the flow and the energy of the video remains the same from beginning to the end of the video. Okay, so for young learners, the video will focus on you and your energy. For the adult video, it's going to turn down, be a bit more formal, and be more conversational. Okay, so just remember the energy levels because that is what they are going to be looking at. If you have an adult introduction video and you're like, hi, I'm teacher, check out, and you're bringing all this massive energy into this, they're going to be like, I think this is a more young learners orientated teacher. If you've got a young learners introduction video and you formal and you paced and you've toned the energy down, they're going to kind of be wondering. So remember, the energy factor that you've got in making these two videos is of vital importance. The next thing I'm going to be looking at, and a lot of teachers have asked me, they say, yes, Matt, but we're looking at the formats of the video. We're still using TPR, we're still using props. How are they different in terms of young learners and adults? Okay, so that is very important. When it comes to TPR and props for younger learners, the TPR is both educational and instructional. The props and flashcards are there to help the student focus, to keep their concentration, to egg them on, to keep them focused on you. Because remember what I said, it's about 80-20. It's not set in stone, but roughly about 80% teacher, 20% student. And you've got to keep the attention, keep the focus. You've got to make sure the young learner is really grasping what you are teaching them. So you see, you've almost got a little bit more of an aggressive use of TPR and props and flashcards. You are going to bring them in constantly with the flow, with the energy, engaging the student, keeping their focus, keeping their attention. Okay. When it comes to TPR and props for adults or young adults, when you're doing that, you are going to be using this more to help them along, to stimulate them to speak more. Okay, so basically, what you're going to be using more for adults, you're more going to be using your instructional saying. So if you're getting a student to say a sentence, you're going to be going, You are giving them educational. You are um, spurring them on. You are encouraging them. If you noticed, particularly in your themed lesson for adults, that you say are teaching them the difference between coffee cups and coffee mugs, if they say, I like to put tea in, or I like to make my coffee in a, you kind of hold up and you point and you high five and you show them. You see how the TPR and the use of the props and the flashcards is a little bit different to that of the young learners. So for the young learners, it's for focus, concentration, entertainment, high energy. The props and the TPR for adults is more for encouragement, egging them on, because in an adult's lesson or in the introduction video, whatever you're going to be doing at a later stage, remember it's about 70, 30, 60, 40. You want the adult or young adults in the lesson to participate more, speak more. Your activities are going to be arranged more around conversation, saying, peer, one-on-one, group, whatever it is. So yes, you still do use TPR and props, but differently for young learners and for adults. Okay. Then another key difference is lesson structure. And as I've mentioned before, and I think you're kind of getting a feel for this over here, that a young learners is incredibly teacher orientated. It's basically 80% of the work is coming from you. The young learners maybe going to repeat some vocabulary words, repeat a sentence. You're only going to focus on the pronunciation and the understanding of the word. That's done. Whereas an adult, your lesson structure is more to get the information out of them, get them to converse, get them to speak, give them the confidence to interact with you. So this becomes a more student orientated lesson. Okay. And the two examples that I'm going to be using here is a PPP: present, practice, produce. Brilliant structure for a young learner lesson. Whereas for adults, you're going to use the teach, test, teach. You're going to test, teach, test. Sorry. Test it, get them to engage, grammar concept, test, see if they know it, because 90% of the time they are aware of how to use a grammar, but they do not know what the concept is. So they can say sentences in past tense, but they never knew it was past tense, if you get where I'm going with this. So you're going to use a test, teach, test method, engaging them. So you need to understand these kind of tools and these kind of structures in terms of orientation of energy, props, TPR, and what structure you're going to be using to give you the fundamental differences between young learners and adults. The last one we're going to be looking at is error correction. Okay, for young learners, you will correct the error. Say for teachers say until they get it right. For adults, you're going to encourage them to correct the error themselves. See if they are able to pick up what error they are making. See if they're able to correct that error. Okay, so you see the primary difference that we have between young learners and adults, and bringing some of these details into your introduction video is understanding the energy levels, understanding your use of props and TPR, understanding the lesson structure, and understanding how you correct errors. Okay. So you see, this might be heading more towards your demo lessons or heading more towards your actual lessons. But these concepts in the why you want to teach section are what you are going to be highlighting. So when you're doing for young learners, you're focusing on the energy, your TPR, your lesson structure, error correction. For adults, you're toning it down. The companies want to see that you kind of understand the difference between these. Although the structure, format, time frame, script, everything for the introductions for young learners and adults are both kind of identical, it's in the details. It's understanding these concepts and what the difference is between teaching these two. And in the Why I Want to Teach section of your introduction video, to demonstrate a short little summary of the understanding of the skills for each. So that was a big question that I got from a lot of the teachers, is what really actually is the difference. If I'm asked in an interview, how would I teach a young learner versus a young adult, that I'm able to bring in these concepts over here. There we go. So this is just a big shout out and a big thank you from me, your host, Matt Tulliard. and obviously the wonderful and amazing Chris Dulibber from Teacher's Pet. And remember, we are here to stand for your greatness and support you on this journey. We know it can be overwhelming. Okay, so we really, really look forward to hearing from you, your feedback. Reach out if you need anything. Thank you again for your time today, and happy teaching.